So yesterday we spoke about what if you walk in the street and you find something in your pocket in the middle of Shabbos. Right? What do you do? Spoke about it yesterday. First thing you should do, number one, drop it. Right then and there, wherever you are, drop it. That's the first thing you have to do. Now if you're afraid to drop it because you're going to lose it, so then you come to the shiloh, what else could you do so you shouldn't have to lose your money? It's a lot of money. People work £3 an hour, it's £50. That's a whole week's worth of money, so that's, I feel the moment. So then we have what to talk about. Now, some of you asked me a question the other day. How could you just drop it? Isn't it preferable to carry it with you into Rosh Hashanah? Because then, what you'll be doing is you'll be carrying from one Rosh Hashanah to the other Rosh Hashanah, which is only a Rabbanon. Why drop it in the Rosh Hashanah, in the Doraisa, carrying from a Rosh Hashanah, private property from a single domain to a Rosh Hashanah, is a Doraisa. So this fellow walks out of his house, right? He's walking, he's walking, and all of a sudden he realizes he's got something in his pocket. So if you make him drop it right there, so then essentially what you're making him do, you're making him being over in Issa Deraisa. He's coming from a Rosh Hashanah and you're making him drop the money in Rosh Hashanah. Wouldn't it be more logical to tell him to just continue walking, preferably to just continue walking until he gets to Rosh Hashanah, so you never actually put it down in Rosh Hashanah, so now he will prevent the Issa Deraisa. The biblical prohibition of carrying from a single domain to Rosh Hashanah. So the answer to that is that the Eraisa, in order for you to be over the Eraisa on Eitzah, carrying, two conditions are necessary. First of all, you have to pick up the object from Rosh Hashanah, and then you have to go and put it down in Rosh Hashanah. What if, when you picked it up, you had no intention of carrying it out into Rosh Hashanah, and then while you're already walking, you decided you're going to walk into Rosh Hashanah, and then you put it down there? Are you over on the Eraisa? Are you over on Eitzah? Do you transgress Eitzah on carrying? The Gemara says no. The Gemara says the only time you really transgress Eitzah is if, when you picked up the object, you picked it up with your intention to carry it out into Rosh Hashanah, and then you put it down. That's when you transgress the biblical prohibition of carrying on Shabbos. But if you never intended, when you picked it up, to carry it into Rosh Hashanah, only afterwards you decided to carry it into Rosh Hashanah, and then you put it in Rosh Hashanah, then there's no Issa Deraisa on that. So here too, the person didn't notice, he didn't realize that he has things in his pocket. For all practical purposes, when he put it in his pocket, he never intended to actually carry it in Rosh Hashanah. And then while he's in Rosh Hashanah, he realized, oh no, I actually carried it in Rosh Hashanah. Drop it right then and there. Drop it right then and there.
But when he puts it in his pocket, knowing that he uses that coat to go out. So he obviously has the intention that it should be there for the next time that I should go out. So he has the intention to take it into Rosh Hashanah. Whether it's Shabbos or not, he's not thinking about that, but he has the intention to take it out.
What you're saying is that let's say he put his coat Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to still use his coat Thursday, Friday, Shabbos. So he did put in his coat with the intentions to actually take it out.
Yeah.
That's a good question. So he did put it, yeah, so that's a very good question. The answer to that question is that once you put the coat down right before Shabbos, at any single moment in time, when you put the coat down right before Shabbos in your house, so that's already, from then on, when you pick it up, that's a new Akira. It's a new Akira, and what we are talking about, the Akira that happened right before you walked out before Shabbos. That's what we're concerned with. We're not concerned. I'm using the words "put it in your pocket," but really, it's even if you put it back with the intention to take it out. But if when you came back home, right, and you left right before Shabbos, that Akira was with the intention. When you picked up the coat from wherever it was, right, that's the Akira.
So the Akira is of the coat, not of the object.
Well, essentially to the object as
Right.
well. So we're dealing with the akira that was preceded the haitzah.
Right.
That akira was definitely not with the intention to take it out. So that's why you're not over in a deraisa
Right.
if you put it in a Rabbi. Because the akira that was right before the haitzah, right? The akira, the picking up the chayfetz.
So it doesn't matter if it was 2 days before, yeah. Right.
Even when you put it in there, but now we're dealing with a new akira. You brought it back home, and we're dealing with a new akira.
Right.
So we're dealing with a new akira. So that akira is what concerns us. The akira that was prior to the haitzah, prior before you left to Rosh Hashanah.
If they're both Drabonim, both when you didn't do an akira with intention and travelling from Rosh Hashanah to another Rosh Hashanah, they're both Drabonim, then why is it better to drop it now if it's the same Issa to carry on walking?
It's a good question. The answer is because most of the time you're dealing with muktzah.
Okay.
And muktzah.
Most of the time it's a tissue.
Oh, so if it's
That's
tissue.
another question.
By the way, dirty tissue is also muktzah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't bother you, it's muktzah. Any dirty plates, anything that's dirty.
Is it bottle? The
it's
dirty
muktzah.
tissue?
It has no tashmish.
Is it bottle?
Keys muktzah, you want to
No,
know?
no, they shouldn't be locked in house keys.
Depends what the keys are for. If the keys are for car, if they're for
Yeah,
car,
house keys. That's it.
right? If it's a key, then also it's not muktzah. Right, it's not muktzah.
Can tissues be bottle or dirty tissue? If you've got it in your pocket,
If you got any pocket tissues, yeah.
can you be bottle? That is not carrying.
Why? Why not?
I've heard.
Yeah, is it
You can
bottle?
always use, if you got a runny nose, even if you've got to use tissue, you'll always be able to use it somehow.
What about hankies?
Oh, okay. That's the old claim that every muktzah could actually be used for heter. Like you could use a pen as a paperweight. So it's really not muktzah because you can use it as a paperweight. You have to put it on your book, so it shouldn't the pages shouldn't. You can use anything, but the truth is, when you're dealing with muktzah, we'll get there. What we're dealing with is we have to look at what the ikr, what the main purpose of that object is.
For its
The main purpose is what?
For its main purpose, you can still use no tissue.
Do people use that
If you've got
as a
nothing
main
else
purpose
on
of
you.
tissue? People usually throw it out.
Okay, fine. So anyway,
Yeah.
getting back to
use
the
that.
point, if it's both Drabonim.
But yeah, both are one. So first of all, the truth is, the Ramah that says that is dealing with muktzah. That's what the Ramah says to drop it. But even if it's not muktzah, why should we allow you to continue onto another Issa D'Rabbanan when you could just stop it right here? I mean, the Issa D'Rabbanan is done already, regardless. Regardless of whether you're doing Issa D'Rabbanan, so why should we continue to prolong the Issa D'Rabbanan and carry it into a Rosh Hashanah when you could just stop the Issa D'Rabbanan right here? Saying either way, it's only one Issa D'Rabbanan.
Well, maybe every Taladan is
Getting on this.
Yeah. But definitely when it's muktzah, you're saying when it's a tissue, then perhaps, it's a tissue, then you should definitely do it. I mean, what are you going to do? What's the difference? You don't want to use it anyway. But, yeah, so what if you don't want to do, what if you don't want to do that? What if you don't want to leave it there? Let's say it is something which is a valuable item, it's a valuable object. You don't just drop it on the street. So there they allowed you to run with it to your house, and then drop it in the kalach yad, in a way where it's kalach yad, in a way where it's the not unusual way of people putting down the object. For example, throwing it over your shoulders. That's the case the Shulchan Aruch gives. It's a shinui. Or just like flick it like this, like this. Is that the way you usually throw something? I mean, it's not the
Why
only
should
way.
you run?
Is that enough of a shinui?
Why should you run?
Perhaps. Why should you run? We'll talk about that right now. Why should you run? I'm not sure. If it's not the usual way of picking up an item or an object, that's considered picking up a shinui. The Gemara says the reason why you should run is because if you don't run, you have to run. If you don't run, then we're afraid that you might stop in Rosh Hashanah. You're going to forget. The running is a hecker. The running is actually a hecker. You start running, you always think, what am I running for? So the running will remind you, in fact, the running will remind you that you shouldn't stop. You're running for a reason.
Right.
So really, the Mishnah Berurah brings a machlekes, the Shulchan Aruch brings a machlekes, whether, let's say, running helps for your wallet. I mean, you can run with your wallet as well. Or running only helps for an object that's too big, people don't usually run with that object. For example, you're carrying a big box of food. You don't usually run with a big box of food, so it's not going to be a hecker if you start running. That's going to be a hecker if you start running. But if you run with some little item in your pocket, you usually run with little things in your pocket. You usually run. It's not going to be a hecker. Who says you're going to remember that the reason why you're running is so you shouldn't stop. You usually run also. You could sometimes run. Sometimes it happens that you run. So running usually doesn't help, only if it's something which naturally you wouldn't run with. That's how some place can learn. But the Mishnah Berurah says that you can be samech on the mekilin, and you could run even with something which naturally you would run with also. Okay, so that's why, I mean, sometimes people will tell you, if you find something in your pocket, make sure don't just continue on, just run, walk quickly, briskly, like walk to the Rishta Yachid, and put it down in a way where you don't usually put it down for the Shina. But what people don't know is preferably the Mishnah Berurah, the Ramah writes, you should put it down in the Rishta Rabbi if it's not something which you're worried about.
You should stop. If you continue walking anywhere, you probably should stop and
Stop.
take
Stop.
If
If you could hide it right then and there in a place where no one will find it. I mean, somebody asks you, just pick up a rock and put it there. That's muktzah. You have to be careful how you're going to hide it. The question is how you're going to hide it. Behind the bush, right. Right, if you're walking next to a bush, you can just put it behind the bush, okay, so the next simon discusses Mincha Ma'ariv Erev Shabbos. You don't say Tachanun in Erev Shabbos. Even if you daven early Mincha right after Chatzos, you don't say Tachanun in Erev Shabbos. That's the simon Rish Samach Zayin. First halacha. Second halacha is Siv Beis, very interesting halacha. Shulchan Aruch says that Magdiman L'Spal Arbis, you should daven Ma'ariv early. Make an early Shabbos. Meaning like this. What does it mean? It means that usually we daven Ma'ariv at night. Right? Night means like Tzeis. Means Tzeis. We don't daven Ma'ariv after Plag. I mean, during the weekday, for sure not. There's no reason to do that. Right? So we daven Ma'ariv after, unless I guess in the shul, sometimes in the shul you have Mincha Ma'ariv right after each other.
Yeah, especially in the... Especially in the summer.
Here, really?
Yeah, during the week, yeah.
Why would they do that? Because they shouldn't have to come back again to
Yeah.
shul.
It's ever the first bag, second bag, shkia, everything.
Oh, very interesting. Okay. So some people, much the Machlokas, Rabbi and the Rabban of the Gemara, on whether you could have a Ma'ariv after Plag. According to Rabbi Yehuda, you could have a Ma'ariv after Plag, because after Plag is considered Laila, you could have a Ma'ariv already. According to the Rabban, you can't have a Ma'ariv until it says. So Machlokas between the Rabban until Laila. So the Mishnah Berurah is telling us, the Mishnah Berurah says that the Shulchan Aruch, the Chiddush of the Shulchan Aruch is that even though usually you daven Ma'ariv only after Tzeis, you don't make an early Ma'ariv during the week because you paskin like the Rabbanim. Nevertheless, when it comes to Friday night, you could go ahead and be Samech on Rabbi Yehuda. Even though you're a Rabbanan man, you always paskin like the Rabbanan, and you say, I'm makbet to daven Ma'ariv only at night. Nevertheless, we don't say that you have to go ahead and daven Ma'ariv only at night during the Shabbos as well. Shabbos you should daven Ma'ariv early. Why? So the Mishnah Berurah says because they used to be Mekabel Shabbos with Baruch Hu. So because they used to be Mekabel Shabbos with Baruch Hu, they wanted you to be Mekabel Shabbos early, right? To set the Shabbos, whatever the Shabbos. So therefore they said, daven Ma'ariv early, because their Kabbalah Shabbos at least was to Kabbalah Shabbos with Baruch Hu. So say Baruch Hu earlier, so daven Ma'ariv earlier. Now, nowadays, we mentioned earlier that we're not Kabbalah Shabbos with Baruch Hu. Kabbalah Shabbos with Mishir Shabbos, with Boi Chala by L'Chadoyli, which the Berurah mentions, that's when we Kabbalah Shabbos. So nowadays you don't really have this svara that you should daven Ma'ariv early because you should be Kabbalah Shabbos early. So Yashav says, do not daven Ma'ariv early on Erev Shabbos. Well, Yashav says, don't daven Ma'ariv early on Erev Shabbos. He's very strong with this Psak Halacha. Shlomo Zalman Auerbach also was very, very against davening Ma'ariv. Even if you make an early Shabbos, don't daven Ma'ariv early. And in Eretz Yisrael, the accepted minig is K'minig HaGra, which the Gra also held you should not daven Ma'ariv early. You should never daven Ma'ariv early. And that's how in Eretz Yisrael, many people are noyeg. I know many people in Eretz Yisrael, when I lived in Eretz Yisrael, there were many people who used to make an early Shabbos, and used to eat the Suda, and then daven Ma'ariv. When it was time to daven Ma'ariv, that's when they daven Ma'ariv. You know, if it's too difficult.
Or into someone's house and they did that.
And they did that.
Never heard.
The reason why they did that is because Rav Yashim, Shlomo Zalman, the Goyim, and many others hold a person should not daven Ma'ariv early. But it's very interesting. You know, it's unheard of. I think in Chutzlar, it's such a minhag, it's probably unheard of.
Manchester, it's hard to find a minyan by Shkia in the summer. No.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
There's only MH, one minyan in MH.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
There's only 1 million.
No, Friday night. Plague will
Right, here in Manchester, I guess you need it because it's coming much later. But Baruch Hashem, even though the Goyen and the Shlomo Zalman and the Hashem, they all say don't daven Ma'ariv early, but Baruch Hashem, the Aruch HaShulchan is very against davening Ma'ariv on time. He says when it comes to Erev Shabbos, make sure we have to daven. It's very against daven Ma'ariv on time. Make sure to daven early. Baruch HaShulchan says make sure to daven early when it comes to Erev Shabbos. Why? He says because some people don't come to shul for Kabbalah Shabbos; they only come for Ma'ariv. So if they're going to come from Ma'ariv and you're going to have Ma'ariv after Tzeis, so for all practical purposes, they will be Mechal Shabbos, they'll come to be Mechal Shabbos because they hadn't come to Shul for Kabbalah Shabbos, so they weren't Mechal Shabbos and Mizbeh Shilam Shabbos. And they'll only come from Ma'ariv, and they'll think that, oh, I didn't say Baruch Hu yet. And really, Tzeis Shabbos, you're keeping Shabbos already from much earlier. So therefore, the Shulchan says, he gives a good bracha for someone who is noyeg. I want to open the washing of the Shulchan.
You might forget. If you bring in Shabbos early and you have your whole meal and everything, you might forget.
You might get that Ma'ariv. Right. You should make a Shaimer or something. Or, if you have a minyan Kavua. The Sharet Tzin also learns like the Aruch HaShulchan, by the way. The Mishnah Berurah says, make sure to daven Ma'ariv early, yeah? And he says, don't make a break. Some people are noyeg, they make a break in shul. They say Kabbalah Shabbos, they make a break, and then they daven Ma'ariv whenever it's time to daven Ma'ariv. And the Sharatzina in Reish and Vav, Sharatzina points out that you shouldn't do that either. Because some people, for that same reason, because some people won't come for Kabbalah Shabbos and only come for Ma'ariv and they'll be Mechal Shabbos. But even if you daven Ma'ariv early, make sure, and Rabbi has to lay Kriya Shema again, that's for sure. It's very interesting, true for Moshe. Moshe says that when you lay Kriya Shema, if you make an early Ma'ariv, you lay Kriya Shema, make sure that you're not Yoitza, you don't have to be Yoitza, the mitzvah of Kriya Shema, because then you have Rebbe Taisif.
Really?
He's mitzaded that you might do Rebbe Taisif. He says Tarachin, but he says make sure you're not mechavat to Yoitza the mitzvah of Kriya Shema.
You can make it tonight, no?
Could you be Yoitza with, you have to lay Kriya Shema again. Could you Yoitza with Kriya Shema She'al Amita? If you, let's say, your minhag is to lay all three parshiyos, could you just lay Kriya Shema She'al Amita and that would be the mitzvah of Kriya Shema? Look at Chilo. The person saying you should not do that. Because the Kriya Shema She'al Amita, you only read Kriya Shema She'al Amita only because Lishmer ben Amazikin. To protect you from Mazikin. And it's not l'shem mitzvah. So, like at Chilo, you shouldn't do it. But yeah, but if you're mechav l'shem mitzvah, even Kriya Shema She'al Amita, if you read all three parashiyos, that's also enough.
You make it tonight, no? That I'll tonight that I wasn't Yotze before, and I'm being Yotze now. And you can be Yotze both.
You're not Yotze before, finish. You just say, I don't want to be Yotze right now.
Right.
Well, even if
you forget later on, then you've got nothing.
It's before this man. You can't be Yotze anyway.
Right.
It's impossible to be Yotze.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, once again, every Baltais is Shalom is not. I'm saying, right. So that's a suffix because Krishma is really limit Torah. But if your kavanah is a shem mitzvah, so it's like a person builds a sukkah. It's like a person builds a sukkah, then in Pesach, and he says, "I'm going into the mitzvah sukkah, and the mitzvah sukkah." It's Baltais. He's making up his own mitzvah.
If you're calling Krishna between Shia and Seis, you get to the mitzvah. Is that suffix now when you're Yotzna? Krishna between Shkia and says
Something there has a chumrah.
that's suffering.
You suffer the rise of Batois, you're saying?
No, no.
No, but either way.
We can know. We can miss over here, Shema. So if we have to say Shema again. So
Ah,
Not just
Suffering
that.
Yoel,
there you go tonight, very good.